Hey everyone, I'm very excited to talk about this week's topic. How does the Meisner Technique in the training, how do you go about playing a character? Even you saw me hesitate because we don't play it, but that's typically how it's talked about. You know, when I interview students, they say, oh, I just love playing different characters. So I'm going to share with you how Sandy approached character work, a lot of the misconceptions that are out there about the Meisner Technique in character work, and some really important key teachings that are, at least from my experience, exclusive to the Meisner Technique in terms of working on a character. Okay? So first of all, let's start with the number one thing that would make Sanford Meisner just almost like lose it. What am I saying? He would lose it. I mean like almost explode. You know, when I studied with Sandy, he was in his 80s, right? He was 84 to, the 4-year period, it was 84 to 88 years of age when I was around Sandy a tremendous amount. Nothing got him out of his chair. This old man, this tired old man, I mean, he was sharp as hell. His mind was sharp as hell, but his body was beat up. And nothing got him out of his chair quicker than when a student would talk about the character they're working on in the third person. So in other words, Sandy would say, what's that scene about? And the student would say, oh, he's a guy who, and Sandy would, you just lose it, right? I mean right away. What are you talking about, a ghost, a neighbor down the street? It's you are the character, you. And I remember when he was saying that, you know, it's because in the Meisner Technique, there's really a delineation. There is a first year and there is a second year. Each class builds on the previous class, previous week, previous month, and previous session, no doubt about it. But when you look at the Sandy's syllabus, that I'm blessed to have been handed off by him, you'll see that there is a clear delineation between first year and second year work. First year is all about putting a foundation in place of us being able to play ourselves in just a very natural, instinctive, moment-to-moment way. No wardrobe is allowed, no accents, just anything external and artificial, and that's not a negative, just anything external is not allowed whatsoever. And so because what Sandy wanted was, before we started to grow and begin into second year, which he said was all about learning how to now take all this to a whole new level, and now teaching you how to go beyond playing what comes easy and natural to you, how to truly earn a character, a three-dimensional, multi-dimensional character. And it started in first year when a student, even though we weren't doing character work, when a student would talk in third person about their character. So that got nipped in the bud immediately, and believe me, at the Meisner Technique studio here in San Francisco, I'm as vigilant with that teaching as well. So you're never allowed to talk in third person when you're working on the role. Look, if you're famous and you're being interviewed on, you know, I don't know, some magazine or Entertainment Tonight, I don't even know if that show still exists. Certainly, you know, you hear actors say, oh, it's an interesting character to play. He's a lot like me, or he's very different than me. I found out, you know, this about him and this. Of course, you don't have to be, he's going to sound like a wacko talking in first person to the public. But Sandy's talking about when you're working on trying to connect to the life and soul of this fictitious human being that you need to grow into to turn that cold piece of paper into a believable human being and learn how to play beyond your natural selves. You need to own this. So this is the other word that he forbade as well. We don't play characters in the Meisner Technique training. You don't. You are taught how to earn them. Also brick by brick, step by step. And this is a very important delineation between Sandy, the Meisner Technique, and a lot of teachings that are out there. You see it a lot and this is not a criticism, I promise. It's done a lot in community theater and colleges where, you know, you're working with a lot of different people that have various degrees of training, if you will, and there's often a rush to makeup and wardrobe and all these externals that help. They do that. Those window dressing, that window dressing helps. Certainly. You think about when you go out on a Friday or Saturday night, or what Halloween's like. You throw on a wardrobe, a certain outfit. Ladies who dye their hair, or guys who have a completely different look, just shoveled and unshaved. It does. You can feel it. But what Sandy wanted was to build it from the inside out, not the outside in. Stella Adler, who remained close with Sandy to her dying day, she passed before Sandy did. And Stella told wonderful stories about Sandy, of course, and Sandy told wonderful stories about Stella. And Stella was a grande dame. She had several hundred people in class. She would walk on stage late, standing ovation. She'd bow, more applause. She'd do this, right? She was a show. Stella's class, and Stella was a show. And she knew that, and she liked that, and she was fine with that. And her great contribution to the craft of acting, along many things, but she's credited for character work. And Stella once said, "Don't ever put anything on your body or the stage that doesn't feed the life and soul of the character you're trying to inhabit." Absolutely true. The externals help. But Sandy didn't want us to go near those externals until you learned how to build it from the inside out, because what it does do, back to colleges and community theater a lot, is that it leads to caricatures, it leads to cliches. You hear accents or drunken impediment or these certain character elements that are very artificial, they're not earned. And so in the Meisner technique, the way Sandy wanted to do it, and what second year is all about, is teaching us how to earn a multidimensional human being so far outside of who we are naturally. He would assign scenes intentionally to help stretch us in these areas that were quite different to what our natural temperament and personality were. And then, of course, the introduction of accents, of impediments. Look, you think about character, like in the old days, you'd hear character. It's another great Sandy story. Sandy said, in the group theater, we were all character actors. But character actors over the years started to get this reputation. What's a character actor? Sandy said, he goes, people think it's, you're bald and getting ugly and old. That's a character actor, some old dude. Well, that's insanity. I can never say her name right. Charlize Theron. She's a character actor. Margot Robbie is a character actor. You see I, Tonya? You see I, Tonya? Holy hell. And that in Wolf of Wall Street, that's character work, where you're able to grow beyond what comes naturally to you, right? And of course, the greats are, my heroes, people like Daniel Day-Lewis. When Daniel Day-Lewis signed on to do Lincoln, when he signed the contract, he looked up and he says, "I'll see you in a year," meaning time to go to work, time to go earn this dude, earn putting this on from the inside out. You hear too, one of the great misconceptions that's out there is that, when people say, you're an actor, are you method? They think again that you go stay in character and live the part. Sandy was very clear on this. He says, you got to do whatever you got to do to bridge the gap between who you are and who you need to become. That's not method acting. That's research, and that's the incorporation of that research. And if you're shooting a film and your next shot is some critical deep thing that requires tremendous focus and concentration and inner life, hell yeah, you're not sitting there chatting with the crew eating sandwiches with everybody, right? You're staying in character. Hell yeah, that's not method acting. That's doing whatever you can do to stay on the beam, and Sandy wanted this and promoted this. So character work starts second year in the Meisner Technique. And it's introduced pretty quickly. In fact, what am I saying? The very first day of class, starting the second year, we start working on what are called impediments. And impediments can range anything from starting with, accents, right? And, not cliche accents. And we don't expect our students, nor does Sandy, to have these accents mastered in a month, because usually that's about the window of time you're going to work on a scene in the Meisner Technique. You know, he didn't expect to have them mastered. He was trying to teach us how much work you have to put into earning an impediment. Oh, I didn't finish a point. I want to get back to it. You know, people like Daniel Day-Lewis, of course, Meryl Streep. Think of actors, you know, Christian Bale, holy hell, right? Who literally, quote unquote, transform, right? And so much of that is the ability from the outside as well, hair, makeup, you know, things like that. But of course, so much of it is from the inside. And that's really what Sandy focused on. When I say so much of it, hell, from Sandy's point of view, all of it was. He once said, look, yeah, okay, script says you're French. Okay, so you have an accent. That's an external. But what's that mean? You know, what does French mean? Now, not in some stereotype cliche. Where in France? What kind of education? You know, you think about, you know, London and England. How many actors say they have a British accent? Oh my God. You know, they're so sloppy with those accents because there's so many different regions, just like in this country, right? And if you want to be an actor, let me just make a little aside. If you really do want to build a career where you're not playing just yourself over and over, Sandy used to call them movie stars, and it's true. Think of just some people, I won't name any names, but you can think of people. This is it. This is their range. And it makes money, and it does great, and they're happy with it, and thank you very much. Although I could tell you a story about a very, very famous person. Did I say it? Well, I will. I think it's okay. I know for a fact that Sylvester Stallone, as he built his career and became so successful with Rocky and Rambo and all those things, that he had a hole inside of his artistic soul. He wanted to be taken seriously by the industry, by the profession, as a real actor. And, you know, sometimes actors will try and break out and try something else, and the public won't allow it. They don't want it, right? Or they don't have the range to do it, the training, the craft to do it. And that really brings us back to what I want to talk about, finish this off with, which is the craft that's needed to be able to earn this unique, sometimes foreign, not only point of view, human being. And so accents are a critical element to that. Impediments also include, you know, altering anything physical, Sandy said. So one of the most common impediments. And if you're an actor, you better own these. You better own these impediments because they're so common. You don't want to just try to dust it off and practice them on short notice because you got an audition for Thursday for a guy who's a coke addict or a meth head or somebody going through withdrawals. That's the script. You know, these are impediments. Drunk, high on anything that alters your physical. And then there's emotional impediments, right? Bipolar, OCD, manic. These are emotional impediments. I remember years ago, God, here's a funny story. I saw, this is how long ago I started this career, Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July. I saw it in Westwood, and I walked out. I was with my wife, and when I walked out of the movie theater, I turned around and I went, wow, Tom Cruise just won his Oscar. I mean, he was so incredible in that film. And he transformed. He played Ron Kovac, a true story of a vet who was wounded and was paralyzed. And he wrote a book called Born on the 4th of July. The film was directed by Oliver Stone. And this is actually an interesting story. Tom Cruise had just done Cocktail. He was, risky business, he's done all, and he did Cocktail, and he got ripped. He was pretty boy selling the gorgeous young dude, and he just got blasted by Hollywood, and he was humiliated, and vowed to become an actor. And he fired his team, kept just a couple key people. Kathleen Kennedy, I believe, was one of them. And he said, from here on out, and his very next film, ready? Rain Man. His film after that, Born on the 4th of July. There was not an accident. That was a plan. That was a strategy. But anyway, Born on the 4th of July, Cruise did some really lovely character work. He started to really disappear, right? And then about 3 weeks later, I saw Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot. And I went, oops, he just stole it. He just stole Cruise's Oscar for Best Actor, and sure enough, he did. You know, those are impediments. And that's how you got to earn them. I want to really stress this. You know, to take them from cliche to something truly believable, transformative, not only for you, but for them. I have a one-man show called Vincent where I've been touring for a long, long time. And it's on Vincent Van Gogh. I play his brother Teo and Vincent through the course of the night. Both brothers come to life. Okay. Let's see. And one of the great compliments I've received over the years is that people who know me, specifically like my mom and family members, who would come and see the show, they'd say, I didn't even see Jimmy up there. I mean, that's a very high compliment when people who know you so well, within a minute or so, or whatever, stop seeing you. You're gone. And in its place is this human being. I spent 2.5 years working on Vincent before I ever set foot on stage. Not because I don't know what I'm doing, not because I'm lazy, but just the opposite, because I'm incredibly well trained. And because I was working on two incredibly diverse characters, radically different from me. I mean, I'm closer to Vincent in so many ways, but trust me, Vincent and his life and his story is foreign to me. Excuse me. And so is his brother Teo's. In fact, he was even harder. It required more craft and time in to earn the right to walk on stage. So, the Meisner Technique absolutely covers character work. Sandy was clear. Let me finish with this. This is an important teaching too. He was clear. Don't ever talk in third person. He was clear. We want you to earn it, not play characters. Earn it, and that takes time. And his final thing that he used to just teach over and over, at first it was confusing and then it made perfect sense. But he would just say it over and over. You are the character. You. And I remember sitting in class first year, when it would come up, we're not teaching character work, but it would come up. And I'd be like, this guy's so different from me, it's not even funny. I don't get it. What do you mean, I'm the character? So I didn't know what the hell I was doing, obviously. And it wasn't until Sandy taught me in second year what I'm doing, which is, it's you. It's always you. Under these imaginary circumstances, parents, upbringing, socioeconomic background, education, etc., it's you. It's you. Watch Meryl Streep in 5 films. And different accents, different look, but trust me, it's her stern, it's her flirtatious, it's her angry, it's her heartbroken, it's her. Who else can it be? You are the piano. We're just learning how to add more keys to it. One last thing, Sandy would say, the seed to every character you will play is already inside you. How true is that? Think about that one. The seed to every character you will ever play is already inside you. Right? Most people walk through life acting. They've got a veneer, facades. They put this on for this at work and this at home and the in-laws. And so they play different roles, quote unquote, right? And they're earned, right? But how many people, unless they're in deep therapy, access all the shades and possibilities of who they are, all the guys on their bench? That's actually what great therapy taught me, to embrace all that, all the sides of me that I didn't care for, that I didn't like, that I judged as bad, inferior, dumb, stupid, wrong, whatever. Well, guess what? That's fertile ground for acting, or finding building a multi-dimensional character. Who's perfect? We're all flawed. I don't care if you're playing the best dude in the world or woman, whatever, you know. So learning how to access all those shades and possibilities of who we are as well is critical. That requires great honesty. I hope that helps. I know it's a lot. We can talk more, you know. Respond. When you watch this, respond with your questions. We will respond. I will respond to you. If you have other questions outside of this, when I say we have other people that can address other things. But when you ask questions about the training, I'll respond to you. So please include them in the thread. Include more questions you'd like to have. And thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.